Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the AZ UFO Show. I am your host, Rich Giordano. It's time to bring out reality. Yes, welcome to the AZ UFO Show. For those of you who have been listening since 2006, yes, that's right, almost 10 years, you have known this show to do some things that have not been, well, so liked by so few, but has been loved by so many. Yes, tonight's show will bring back what many of you remembered the show used to be, and is still. I'm trying to be all dramatic. Oh, man, tonight we're going to talk about the Roswell Slides and 9/11. But the Roswell Slides we're first going to kick off with here, and it is very, very exciting to bring along, sitting in, Mr. William Patterson, Eric Morse, a.k.a. Eric Morse. What do you say, Eric? Welcome to the show.
Gone scares there, Rich.
Scares and ghouls to you, my friend. So, I understand that you've been keeping your eye on the Roswell Slides, as most people have, because you're the one who really prompted me to do this show that we're going to do tonight, which I've talked about the slides in the past, but you have brought up some very interesting things that has been going around lately on the internet. And I do want to talk about those people, especially Jaime Maussan. Oh, you're going to talk about me, Richard? Yes, Jaime, I'm going to talk about you. Oh, my friend, this is going to be a very, very bad thing to do because I am... Shut up. You know, people go to Jaime Maussan. He is literally... And this isn't even, I'm not even making this up, and it pains me to say this, and you may know this already. I think you're the one who even brought it up, I'm not sure. But he is the most sought-after person in ufology to bring your credible UFO videos to, and or pictures, and or slides from Kodachrome. But man, what a horrible person. What a miserable, money-grubbing person he is. He's all about, I mean, when I read even further into the Roswell Slides, I was just getting sweaty and itchy to talk about it because of the things that he says and the way he thinks. It's his thought process that, oh, you got these slides, right? These look good. Let's make a show, you know, and let's make money. Let's make something big, an event. I mean, it's all in his brain about money. Man,
yeah.
When did they come out? In May, right?
Yeah. I mean, seriously, I mean, the thing is that, I mean, he had this huge event in Mexico. He got out he rented the biggest venue. He was selling tickets. You know, there was rumors that some people paid about $1,000 a seat to see these things. Then he also had a pay-per-view for $20 a person. I mean, it was just amazing, and it was like a 4-hour thing, and people had to sit there and watch this alien guy in an alien suit walking around, and all these experts sitting there jawing about their findings off of these blurry pictures and stuff, and it was like, whoa.
It is, it's in it. First got them. He didn't. He got them from, a matter of fact, just so I don't forget everything here, his name is Adam Dew, and the last name Dew like in Mountain Dew. But supposedly he got these photos from someone, what was it, his sister? I can't remember. Let me see here. Yeah, let me read this. Let me set this up by just reading what the owner says, how he got the slides. I'll just go a little. I'll skip over a few things so I don't spend all night on this. But here it says the smoking gun evidence came out that there is proof that aliens visited Earth, and all this went around the internet, and they will be displayed during a special event hosted by Mexican broadcast journalist Jaime Maussan on May 5th, 2015. And then among the buzz is speculation about what the pictures show. Questions as to why they will be shown in Mexico, and questions as to how the pictures were found in the first place. A lot of people don't know, but the pictures are owned by a production company. And the owner of that company, Adam Dew, is creating a documentary about the slides titled Kodachrome. And this is back then. But he says a trailer to a Kodachrome shows everything they need to know to this point. However, as questions are answered, more arise. This person who interviewed Adam Dew caught up with him to ask him about some of the outstanding questions and to address some of the speculation out there. Now, Dew was interviewed as one of the researchers when the May 5th event was announced. The trailer to his documentary was also revealed at the time. See, right there, knowing that he is, person who is owns a production company already. I mean, there's already doubt in my mind as I know what this leads up to. But reading this, I'm thinking, okay, so I can see the thought process already in this guy's mind. It says, however, Dew's role was not apparent, and the tie between he and the documentary were not either. But he asked him about the background and how he got involved with the slides. Dew says his background is in journalism and video production. He graduated from Northwestern University in 1998 with a degree in journalism. He then went on to cover high school sports, yada, 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 and started his own video production company called Varsity Tape. They shoot recruitment videos for high school athletes. He said he also freelances for CBS Sports, Yahoo, and USA Today. And then he also has corporate clients for PR and video shooting and editing. He got involved with the slides around 2008, so this isn't something he's had, yesterday. I mean, he's had them for a while. They were discovered by his friend's sister in 1998. I mean, that's a long time that they've been held on to. So that gives him plenty of time to think of a way to make money, if not think of a way he could find Jaime Maussan to make money. She found a box of photographs while she was cleaning out a house to prepare it for an estate sale near Sedona, Arizona. And Dew says she's a bit of a hoarder and just threw them in her garage. She finally looked at them in 2008. Do you know this background here? Do you know this part of the story?
Yeah. I've heard a bunch of podcasts mention about this. Yeah, and
okay.
And the thing is that she found these two photos, and it was like, oh, we got something here.
Well, she found around 400 pictures, and some of them were of famous people, but the box was starting to come apart, and she found a couple of slides wrapped up and tucked under the others. And Dew says she was able to project them, and she thought they were very interesting. Dew described what she saw. When most people see the slides firsthand, they think the slides look like what we think, what we've been conditioned to think an alien would look like. So the woman and her brother brought the slides to Dew, and since he was in the video business, and Dew and his friend began investigating the origins of the slides. Dew says the pictures were on Kodachrome slides and are not perfectly in focus. He says Kodachrome never responded well to poor lighting, of course. There's the catch, very, very bad. That's why they're blurry. But we see videos online on how you can fake something into being blurred. There's many ways you can do it. It's easy. However, he says he did find them very compelling. Dew says their first task was to date the slides. He says, we wanted to date the slides because we knew people might think they were hoaxed and staged. Now, why would you think that back then? You know what I mean? Why would you even think that if I found slides and I thought they were of an alien, I would think, wow, this is cool. Let's date them and see where they come from. I wouldn't think, wow, let's date them and see when they were taken so nobody thinks they're fake. I wouldn't think that. That's just a guilty person years later after being caught red-handed now stating, well, we thought they might, be hoaxed as well, so we just wanted to make sure they were dated properly. Give me a break. As we have covered in past stories about the slides, the film and its slide cover have been allegedly confirmed to be from the late 40s. This proves that the film is not doctored. Not true. That doesn't prove anything, really. It proves that they're from the 40s. Doesn't mean they're not doctored. Well, that is the first thing people say is that it's a hoax, says Du. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson, when I showed them to Neil deGrasse Tyson, his first response was that these are fake. Well, they are not fake. People in the late 40s were not staging aliens as far as I can tell, and that image of the big head and skinny body didn't become popular pop culture until the late 60s. So we know that this is not a fake staged alien as far as I can tell. Well, he's wrong on that. Maybe it did get popular in pop culture, but in the 40s, we know two people, Betty and Barney Hill, who described the big-headed alien. So I don't want to hear that people weren't talking about big-headed aliens until the late 60s. That's semi-true, but not completely. Well, he's just trying to cover his butt. Du says the slide owners had very interesting backgrounds, leading further credibility to their legitimacy. So the next step was to have someone look at them who had seen an alien body. So they bring them to the most respected researchers of the Roswell UFO incident, Don Schmitt and Tom Carey. Excuse me. People may not know this. If the show was a day earlier, we wouldn't be talking today. I swallowed a seed from a bird seed or sunflower seed. It got stuck in my throat, and now I keep having to drink water. Hold on. Smith and Carey. I know, right? I mean, I wasn't able to talk all day. I'm surprised I woke up and I was able to speak. Smith and Carey were able to get Du in touch with a man who claims he had seen alien bodies that were recovered at the alleged UFO crash in Roswell in 1947. Du says the man wishes to remain anonymous, but his name and his picture are in the yearbook for the Roswell Army Airfield in 1947. Well, I don't understand why he would want to hide his face. Well, he knows they're probably fake, that's why. When shown the pictures, the witness who's seen the bodies from Roswell says the body in the image did look like the bodies he saw in 47. Du says he saw fresh bodies, and our body looks like it has been preserved in some fashion. He asked Du if he was certain that this is an alien in the pictures. He said, I'm not certain. I don't know how that I would have that certainty, but I have not claimed that I've ever seen an alien, and from what I can tell in my research that I've done into this, there are no pictures online of any bodies that hold any weight. So this one does? I mean, this doesn't even have a large head. Anyway, he continued, unlike everybody else that first looks at it, that it looks like what I think an alien would look like. See, now when I first looked at this, Eric, to me it did not look like an alien body. It looked like a mummified body. How do you feel?
Yeah, I agree. It did. It looked like a mummified body. I mean, it looked like it looked a little weird. I mean, it looked like a deformed mummified body, but yeah, it looked like a mummified body.
It did, and the head wasn't the normally large head. The mouth was too big. I mean, well, anyway, Du says the event is justified in that there is enough there to showcase people willing to go on the record. Now, he continued, in my mind, Mexico City or wherever, maybe him being naive, but he thinks the slides will stand on their own no matter where they are presented. Jaime Maussan had this vision for this big event, and it sounds exciting to me, he said. It sounds fun and interesting, and it is a big stage. No one in the U.S. would have been able to present a stage like this because no one's dumb enough to present it at this. In some ways, it gives it an international feel. Du says they did shop the project around the Hollywood producers, and he was surprised at the high-level meetings he was able to obtain. However, in the end, he did not want the photos to be just another part of an existing UFO
Interesting. Yeah,
we need. Let's go to Hollywood. We can make billions of dollars, not millions, billions. I mean, I hate this guy. What were you gonna say?
I know. And the thing is that, I mean, if this was an honest picture of a Roswell UFO, I mean, why make a big deal out of it? Why not actually put it out to the public for free? You know? I mean, you know, that would be the more logical thing.
He also admits. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go for it.
Well, he also admits that money was a concern. He says he turned down a reputable magazine that wanted to cover the story because they were not offering any compensation. Right. Just like me, I've been on several documentaries and a few TV shows. They just paid for my plane ride and gave me $40 for food. They didn't give me money to get rich off of even to put in my bank account just to stay alive for the night. They don't, people who are doing legitimate work don't need to charge. I'm telling you, all the UFO videos that I have, I could have made a ton of money if I sold them to Jaime Maussan. I'm telling you. This Jaime Maussan is a poison, and he poisoned this guy. Not totally. I mean, I think this guy also had a vision, but Jaime's just happened to be bigger, and Jaime knew the ins and outs and who to go to. Let's go to Hollywood and pitch it. No, they're only offering us X amount of dollars. That's not enough money. We need to make more. We can do this. We can do that. I know Jaime. I worked with Jaime 10 years ago in 2005 when he came to Arizona and contacted me and a couple others here to go to his Mexican UFO conference. Now, he was charging $35 a head for 2 shows of 300 people. Do the math. 300 times 35 times 2. That's a lot of dough, bro. A lot of dough.
Yeah.
And taking advantage of his own people, Did I get any money out of that?
Stories about Jaime, though. It's funny as hell. Yeah, you and the balloon thing. It's hilarious.
Yeah, for those of you who think Jaime Maussan is so reputable and so perfect for ufology, think again. This is a guy who took a video from a friend of mine, well, ex-friend, of a bag blowing up it was a big, huge, it was a garbage bag caught in a dust devil. A dust devil is a small version of a tornado where you have hot air moving cold air and making these dust devils in the desert. And it carries garbage thousands of feet in the sky. And if they're big enough, I mean, I drove into one where it actually turned my car several feet. They're that powerful. And it brought up this garbage bag, and the bag was blown up. The air got underneath it and expanded the bag, this Glad garbage bag. It was black. And when the sun hit it, it sparkled. And it looked like a big diamond in the sky, right? So Mike, the guy at the time videotaped it, he goes, what if I gave Jaime Maussan this video? Do you think he would think it was real? And I go, you mean give it to him? I said, no, we shouldn't do that. That's fake. He goes, but he's accepting Jeff Willis's video. He's accepting Jeff Woolwine's balloons. I said, yeah, let's see what happens. So he showed Jaime the video, and Jaime goes, whose video is this? And Mike goes, oh, it's my video. He goes, this is fantastic. This needs to be put into the show. This is real. You caught this? Yeah, I caught it. Yeah, it flew right over my house. I've never seen anything like it. Put it in there, and people were applauding in the audience when they saw it. It was so funny. Oh, my God. But he didn't do any research on it. He just accepted it. And Jaime says this all the time. And this is the problem with ufology. This is the problem with other radio show hosts who have no experience videotaping anything or even spending more. You think 1,000 hours is a lot of hours spending out there videotaping. It's not. It's not. I didn't learn anything until I was I learned a lot on the way, but until I hit about 10,000 hours, I considered myself pretty much of an expert. Now at almost 20,000 hours of skywatching under my belt over the last 9-10 years. Yeah, I know what a fake looks like. I know what people are trying to bring, as real, and they're just not. And Jaime Maussan looked at this video and just automatically said, let's put it in. So imagine what else is out there that's fake that he's calling real. This is the problem with the other radio hosts. They don't do the research. They just look at it and said, wow, that's interesting. Yes, and I believe the witness. Why do you believe the witness? Well, why would he lie? He has nothing to gain. He's got everything to gain. It's his reputation. Well, he's not making any money. He doesn't have to make any money. It's his reputation. I don't, Rich, you just can't come out and call someone a fake without looking at the video evidence up close. I'm like, I don't have to. I know what it is. I know what mistake they're making. I've made them. I know that those 2 dots are balloons. I mean, I could be wrong, but, most likely I'm not. And most likely, every day, the National UFO Reporting Center and other places around the world are getting calls, and other websites like UFO Casebook are getting every day UFO sightings. Are there really that many UFOs flying around every day? There's at least 50 to 100? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like War of the Worlds. I mean, shit, you'd be going, oh, look, there's a UFO, there's a UFO. I mean, I look up in the sky and I don't see UFOs all the time. And I'm here in California. This is weird.
California's a hotbed. Yeah?
Yeah.
California's a hotbed.
I think I've seen one UFO the entire time, and, I don't even know if it was a UFO.
Right.
Seriously.
And when I first got into it, I used to see sparkling objects in the sky from really far away. And, our regular camcorders that we have, I use high 8. I don't use digital. I use high 8. I have 2 high 8 cameras. You can still buy them on the internet. They're better than the digital. You're going to get a more realistic image. But you're only supposed to shoot maybe 100 feet out. People are shooting thousands of feet away, miles away, and they're capturing these objects, but the objects never get close enough. And that's Jaime Maussan. There was a MUFON show. They went to Mexico, and there were 3 really reputable sightings that happened in Mexico. So 2 MUFON investigators went out there, and this is the first time I've ever seen any MUFON investigator do this. They met one of Jaime's guys, quote unquote, who is a regular at sending Jaime videos and supposedly seeing UFOs. So they take this guy up on the roof, and they're looking at, things in the sky, and that guy says, no, that's not a UFO. Oh, that might be a UFO. Then all of a sudden, the MUFON investigator turns around and he goes, oh, look at that. What is that? And the guy goes, that's a UFO. And he goes, take your camera, videotape it. He goes, I already am. So they're videotaping it, right? But what the guy with the camera doesn't know is that the MUFON guy's friend down the street has let off a bunch of balloons tied together. And yet this guy videotapes them. They take him to Jaime Maussan. Jaime says, this looks exactly like what he tapes all the time. I'm like, Jaime, this is balloons. We actually sent them up. The MUFON guy tells him, you did this? Yeah, we launched the balloons, but you're calling this real. How can you call that real when you don't know, So Jaime kind of got a little pissed off. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it was amazing. And Jaime Maussan got busted on TV, accepting balloon video as legitimate UFO videos. And this just goes to show you that with what my friend did, what MUFON did, and I'm sure what other people have done, they're pulling one over on Jaime because he does not have the experience or the know-how. He probably never even held a camera other than take family photos. This guy should not be in ufology. It's embarrassing. Yet he brings all these people to his conferences, charges a lot of money, and makes money off of them. And it sucks. It pains me that he's doing this, and nobody cares. Because you know why, Eric? Nobody's doing the research like me or other legitimate people out there. They just don't have the time. At the time, I had my own schedule. I still do. I can go out anytime I want and videotape. And you just need a lot of time. Either you're retired or you have money or you have a job where you can make your own hours in Skywatch. And fortunately, I have that luxury to where I can do that. And these people, he doesn't have 8 hours a day to go skywatching. There's no way.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
And in regard to these Roswell things, he sat there and he put all these people's reputations on this. And there were a bunch of people who were not actually involved in the production, but who were supporters who went on the internet and supported Jaime on this and was sitting there saying, oh yes, this is going to knock ufology and paranormal on their ear, and oh man, these people got blasted because
and go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because in the end, what ends up happening is, well, you know, I'm gonna give the kaboom on this. 3 weeks after Jaime Maussan puts this out, the thing is that a group using a freeware application called Deblur unblurs the photo, and you can clearly see on this little placard next to the supposed alien a thing that says that it is a deformed 2-year-old boy.
No, not a deformed, an autopsied 4-year-old boy.
Oh, okay.
And well, that's what I read. I thought it said body. It says mummified body here. It says of a 2-year-old boy. One says a 4-year-old.
Huh. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, where I was just looking at it. Well, we'd have to thank the the Roswell Slides research group for all their hard work and everything they've done to debunk it in every single way. Yeah, here it says the reveal took place May 5th, 2015, by researchers Donald Schmidt, Tom Carey, Richard Dolan, and Jaime Maussan. Richard Dolan, one of the most reputable guys in the world when it comes to UFOs. Viewers paid $20 to see the presentation streaming video, which quickly became a joke to those of many who paid. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe the placard. It actually says, and how did they not see the placard? Didn't they see it? And why, you think they would have removed it. They left it there. That's that's the smoking gun. And here the guy says it's not even a good hoax. The skeptical group, Roswell Slides Research Group, in a few hours, they were able to decipher the blurry image of a tag shown in the photo, which says mummified body of 2-year-old boy. At the time of burial, the body was clothed in a XXX type of cotton shirt. Burial wrappings consisted of the small cotton blankets loaned by Mr. X, San Francisco, California. Unbelievable. So far, the money from the event has not been returned to those who paid for the farce. Unbelievable. I mean, I would want my money back.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you listen to Jaime Maussan, and he's sitting there. Oh, but it cost us so much for the venue. It cost us nearly all the money that we got. We did not make a profit off of it. Oh my flipping God! It's like, oh my God. I mean, I could pretty much guesstimate they probably got a couple mil out of this thing, and he's saying, oh no, we didn't make any money. Oh, give me a fucking break. Whoo, boy.
Oh, Open Minds TV looked into it, since they are almost universally unskeptical about UFO reality. This is such a great. What I'm reading this from is from doubtfulnews.com. I mean, such a great way of writing this stuff, because Open Minds TV, openminds.com, they believe everything just as well, and they are really supposedly a reputable website or whatever. But I know everybody in that group, and I hate them all. I really do. And this was no different, and helped propel the myth around the public spheres. Nick Redfern, who has many, many books out there. Nick Redfern, however, was dubious and was credited by Roswell Slides Research Group for his help. He helped debunk it. Nick Redfern's one of the good guys. I mean, he writes books about Men in Black and Bigfoot and UFOs and all that stuff, but at least he puts a skeptical eye and a form of truth on everything.
Yeah, I've listened to Nick and stuff, and I had him on my show for he called in during one show that we were doing on Bigfoot. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I like Red.
Yeah, Nick was a guest here a couple of times. But, yeah, he's one of the good guys. I like him. Here it says, still, many UFO adherents are standing by the claims made in Mexico City. These photos show the human race, beyond any doubt, that extraterrestrial visits are a reality, said Jaime Maussan, a Mexican UFO researcher who hosted the conference. This is why the presentation of 2 slides, 2 transparencies, where a being with non-human features can be seen, it is very important. He says that about everything. These are important pictures. These are important videos. These are important people. This is an important story. It's all important as long as it goes in your pocket. Right, Jaime?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, you know what? I have to take a break here because, Spaced Out Radio is our home, so we need to promote from within. And we got to take a small break. We're a little behind. Hate to cut us off here, but we'll be back in 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
The sky is the limit on Spaced Out Radio. Hi there, this is Dave Scott, host of Spaced Out Radio. Join me live every Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern for news, reviews, and updates on what's happening in the realms of UFOs, paranormal, supernatural, conspiracy, and more. Find it all at spacedoutradio.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Spaced Out Radio. Listen in soon.
Hi there, this is Jim Tyson, host of Spaced Out Weekend. When you've had a busy week and you're just wanting to chill out and relax, how about listening into my show? That's right, Spaced Out Weekend. I focus on the paranormal, the arcane. I even dip into the techie side of things and much, much more. And I would love for you to come in and check it out. Remember, Spaced Out Radio goes 7 days a week. Dave Scott, Monday through Friday, and me, Jim Tyson, rolling through the weekends. I look forward to having you stop by for a listen every Saturday and Sunday night, 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Want to find out what's coming up on the Spaced Out Radio Network? Go to spacedoutradio.com where you can find our daily list of shows and guests appearing throughout the week. Want to tell us your story? Be sure to sign up for the Spaced Out Forum for free. Maybe you have a psychic question. Drop in and say hi to Catherine in Cat's Corner. spacedoutradio.com, your 24-hour source for UFOs, ghosts, conspiracies, and more. Check it out today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
This is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm going to bring you the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio, Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Every week, I'm going to bring you the freshest information on the globe. I'm bringing you guys the truth, extraterrestrials in the sky, prophecy, chemtrails, rainbow spot, the seventh angel, biblical skies, ancient gods, ghosts, spirits, see it, hear it. So let's do this every Monday night. I'll see you back here at 8 p.m. Pacific Time.
The AZ UFO Show on the Spaced Out Radio Network flies every Sunday night. To reach host Rich Giordano, you can email him at theazufoshow@gmail.com or on Twitter at CNUFOS. Now, back to the show with Rich Giordano.
And we are back here on the AZ UFO Show on spacedoutradio.com and blogtalkradio.com. Hey, we were just talking about the Roswell Slides. Looks like we have some callers hanging on the line there. Caller from area code 301, you're on the air.
Yes, good evening. You guys got a pretty thought-provoking subject going here. It sort of brought the reason I called in. I worked at NASA in the early days. When the first manned flight programs got started. I was working for IBM, but I ended up working at NASA headquarters, the Marshall Space Flight Center in Goddard. And, I always was curious about the stuff that was not general public knowledge with respect to space exploration. And I mean, everybody's got their own little philosophical opinion of, what's real and what's not. And as we know, we've got a lot of, new developments going on, technological developments going on. But I had a question for whoever's on the phone. With respect to UFOs, what is your feeling about the fact that the new Man to Mars project, which I feel, if there is any validity to UFOs, the next manned flight, the first manned flight to Mars, will in many ways validate, what is really out there that could be another living organism. It's going to take.
Well, thank you for that question, sir. Actually, I don't know what's out there. None of us do. That's why we're going out to Mars in the next 10 years. Hopefully we'll find out when we get there. And right now we're just taking questions. I appreciate and respect all the people that call into the show. But we're just taking questions about the Roswell Slides, so let's try to keep it topical, if you mind. And here's another caller who hopefully is not eating like the last guy who called in. Area code 301. Wow, funny how that's from the same exact place. Isn't that, Eric? You're on the AZ UFO show. What's on your mind?
Indeed.
Hello. That's you, buddy. Area code 301, you're on the show. That's you, sir, spanking yourself in the background. You're on the show. Area code 31, I'm sorry, that's my fault, 310 area code. Area code 310, that's you. And phone number 261, do I need to read the rest of it? You're on the show. Okay, sounds like he's cooking in the background. Yeah. Eric, you know that first caller was just sitting there trying to just waste my time. You know that. Sounds like. Because he was taking care. He's like, first of all, he's like this, right? He's like sitting there going, interesting topic. I worked in NASA. And do you think the people going to space or the Mars project? Do you think for the public? I mean, my God, I was about to just kill myself on the show live just for having something exciting to talk about.
Yeah, I know. That's funny as shit. I mean, I love these some of these call-ins, but you know what? I mean, hell, the last few what is it? The last few shows we haven't had that many call-ins, so this was exciting. We actually had two.
I was excited, right? And then the first guy took him an hour just to stop. For a thought. I'm like, oh my God. And then I knew it must have been a fake call. It had to have been. Especially, I mean, he was on hold for 13 minutes and waited through the break. So he was on hold 15 minutes, and he doesn't know what we're talking about? Anyway, Roswell Slides. So we were talking about Jaime Maussan and what a joke he is and should not be the go-to guy in ufology. And you know why he is? Because he has made himself a go-to figure by going around the world. And he's been making money by doing this. This is his job, making money at UFO conferences. He no longer works at 60 Minutos in Mexico. He hasn't done that for over 15 years. And Eric, the caller's called back.
Oh, really?
I mean, do we really dare take his phone call?
Well, we can check it out, just for a moment.
Why don't you talk to him?
Okay.
You want to talk? All right, here we go. I'm gonna go get some beef jerky.
Okay.
Here, you talk to him. Here he comes. Go ahead.
Yeah, gentlemen, just for the record, while I was talking, I heard something say, "Thank you for calling Blog Talk Radio," and I was cut off. And I hung up.
Oh, my God. It's Angel. Oh, what are you doing? Well, I knew I recognized that phone number. Angel, it's Jackal from it's Angel. What's the name of that show over there? What's his radio show, Eric?
Angel? Who's that?
Yeah. You don't think I recognize your phone number?
Hey, sir, I live in the Washington metropolitan area, and I never called this show before in my life.
Oh, wow.
It sounds just like him. It's so, Angel, what are you doing, man? Where have you been?
Yeah, what have you done?
Man, you
How
guys
have you been
must be
doing?
on some type of made-up medication or something. I have no clue what you guys are talking about. And actually, this is pretty fucking scary, really. I had an intelligent question I wanted to ask you guys, but you guys, I don't know.
I fell for it, too. I fell for the first call. I'm like, why does this guy annoy me and I know him? I got to know this person. What are you doing? How you been?
You must live. Do you live in the Washington metropolitan area? Because if not, I wouldn't know you. Oh, you guys. Oh, you guys are smoking something.
All right, we got it. That was him. That sounded just like Angel, right? What? Angel Espino. Right? Didn't it sound just like him? I know it was him. I know for it was him. I know for a fact that was him. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for calling in and making me laugh.
Yeah, we always love when Angel calls. It's a laugh riot. I mean, one thing that we can say is that Jaime really, he really screwed over ufology here, because I mean, this kind of knocked us back a few years. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Jaime Maussan is the most dangerous man for ufology. The most dangerous. Absolutely. Yeah. He's definitely learning ufology.
I mean, he actually, his followers, he's basically ruined their reputations. I mean, shoot. I mean, even a dear friend of mine who she honestly believed in Jaime. I mean, she really did. And I mean, she even paid her $20 to actually sit there and listen to that crap for 4 hours. I mean, I'm talking my dear friend Andrea Perrin. I mean, shit, she was getting death threats and stuff after the slides got proved to be fake. I mean, shit, people were just calling her every foul name in the book.
Yeah,
and listening, I'm sorry to mention your name on this, but seriously, I mean that it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. And Jaime Maussan, I mean, we've talked about him. I've been talking about him since 2004. There's no one worse. And that goes with other groups just like him. I mean, MUFON, as supposedly a reputable group, they're the worst too. They're one of the worst because not only, I mean, they have the radio show, I mean, the TV show, Hangar One, and all that shit. And they talk about stuff on the show that's all edited, for TV and historical cases and whatnot. But in reality, they accept a lot of these fakes too as reality. And they are just, I mean, to become a member of MUFON, you have to pay something like $45 to get the packet, to take the test. If they accept you, then you go through some online training, I think, that teaches you how to be a researcher. And this could be with someone who has not 1 minute of research under their belt to become a UFO researcher and go from door to door, meeting people in their state, in their region, and deciding whether that is real or fake without any experience. And that's the problem with MUFON. They've got all these people who are members who have no experience. It just blows my mind. It blows me away. Well, we train people, we have courses. And I'm like, no, you have one course. And here's how you do it. If you don't follow our guidelines, the way we tell you to, then you're not doing your job properly. It's just a joke. I just hate MUFON just as much as I hate Jaime. And then you have very, very popular websites who post all this stuff that's not real. The most common ones are birds, bugs, and planes. And from a distance, they could look like a UFO at certain angles. And they post all of these videos on the Internet, on their website. And you're right, Eric. It brings us back 2 years, 4 years. It brings us back further and further. But why do people support these websites? Because they don't know any better. I know that. That's the obvious answer. But people like to, and I say this because people like to believe in the dream that there are aliens visiting Earth. Do you think it's that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing like these people, in the paranormal, doing everything the Taps way. I mean, it's like they see this stuff on TV and they think that they can be an expert in the paranormal or ufology. And the thing is, it takes, there are no experts. There are people who know things. There are people who have spent years, but there are no real experts in any of this. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Speak your mind there, Rich. I finished.
Man, my head still hurts from laughing. I shouldn't have done that. I forgot I was laughing at Angel in his call. I just knew it was fake. I said this. I did a show a 3 weeks ago that ufology has pretty much plateaued. I mean, there's nothing that you can put on the Internet anymore that people won't call fake. Even if it's real, it's too good to be true. There's nobody out there that we can trust anymore because everybody on TV is pretty much making a buck. If they've got a returning series like Alien, Ancient Aliens, and then you've got, like you said, the paranormal, the ghost hunter shows. There are 36,000 paranormal groups in the United States alone looking for the truth. 36,000. That's a lot. How many is that per state? You got 50 states? What is that, 700 per state? I think. Something like that, right? 700 per state, yeah. Am I wrong? That's 35,000, right? So let's say I'm right. Hold on. My math isn't. I do the new math. It's not the same. 700 times 50. Yeah, 35,000. Good for me. I guessed right. So about, how much did I say per state? 700? Yeah. And then people go, and people have all these issues. They're hearing things in their home. They're being visited by aliens. And who are they going to call? With 700, there are no experts out there. There are a few people that are good at what they do. I have to admit. Yeah. I mean, people have been around a long time. I happen to like Giorgio Tsoukalos. I think he's great. Of course, Stanton Friedman. I think Stanton Friedman's a one-trick pony. Pretty much he says the same thing every time you talk to him. There's not much more he can say. Richard Dolan, who I thought was one of the good guys, may be on the Jaime Maussan side now. Maybe he jumped ship on reality and went to the other side with Jaime to make money. I don't know why he would ever be involved with Jaime Maussan. But Jaime somehow got him involved.
Well, what's interesting is he was on George Lopez's podcast, and he got really pissed off when George was asking him about this, and he basically treated George like a little child. He said, what George, do you expect me to teach you the history of ufology? And George was just pissed off, and it's like, excuse me, you're the one who was sitting up on that stage with a mummified kid picture. So how can you sit there and say anything at this point? Basically, what he should be sitting there saying is, "I'm sorry."
Well, there was one researcher who said he was sorry about the Roswell Slides. Who was it? Where was he? Tony Bragalia. He apologized for the fake Roswell Slides. I'm probably saying his name wrong. I can never remember. It's Bragaglia. Bragalia. Is that how you say it?
Oh.
He was involved, but he apologized for it. At least he apologized.
Yeah.
And he said, "And my apology to a dead child of the Mesa Verde," by Anthony Bragalia. Oh, it was spelled wrong over here. Bragalia. Nice guy. People call him Tony. But he came out and said he was sorry. I mean, that's unheard of nowadays. A UFO researcher coming out and saying that? Thank God there's somebody out there who is normal. And at least he can apologize and clear his conscience, right? I mean, that's what he's doing. He's like, oh, my God, I got involved with the devil, Jaime Maussan. I think Jaime Maussan is the devil. I really do. I really do. I don't know. Maybe the devil is for ufology, but he's definitely as bad as they come. He really is. He's as bad as Ray Santilli. What was that?
I said he's a sneaky little character. I can say that. I mean, he's fun to laugh at. You have to admit. You know.
In a way, yeah, but I mean, people think that I'm a real dick because I come out and say what I say to other people. Like this guy, Wayne Smith, I believe his name was, who was on Facebook, and he posted these pictures. You saw the story and me commenting on it. He posted these pictures. He posted these pictures of side-by-side balls. Like, they are so far away. And I commented on that, and also a picture which definitely was a bird or a bug. And I commented on them, and I wasn't a dick about it. I said, you know, I'm sorry to tell you, but I in all my years researching and all the 18,000 plus hours I've done debunking my own stuff, you probably took pictures of balloons at a distance and a bird. And then I went on to say why I thought so. And then he came back and lashed out at me. And this message is for Richard Giordano, you know, and then basically telling me I'm, you know, a jerk and that I don't know what I'm talking about because I wasn't there, and that I don't know what I'm talking about because, you know, I'm just looking at his pictures and deciding. I'm like, yeah. When you make a great claim that you're saying you took a picture of 2 UFOs in one picture, you have to back it up. You can't just take a fuzzy photo and put it on the internet and expect us to believe you. And not only that, you have such a thin skin, you can't take any criticism from someone who's been doing it a lot longer than you. Give me a break. The guy says, oh, you'll probably unfriend me. I know that'll happen. And I wrote back, and you saw my response. I'm not going to unfriend you. You know what he did today? Unfriended himself.
Ah, yeah, I can imagine he did.
People just can't take legitimate criticism. And when I criticized the photos, I wasn't criticizing him. I was criticizing the photos. So when somebody gets defensive automatically, to me it says they really don't know what they captured, and they're upset that somebody called them out on it. If you really thought you captured a UFO on tape, well, say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, Rich. You may be right. Maybe maybe I haven't been doing it long enough. Maybe you're right, but here's what I think, and that's why I think they're UFOs. He didn't say that. He just came out and lashed out at me. I love it when people do that. So Wayne Smith, you go on the shithead list with all the others. Pure shithead. And he posts a lot of photos, too, and they're of nothing. Nothing. It's all blurry photos, and we're supposed to believe it. Just like this, just like the Roswell Slides. Jaime was probably the one who said, hey, you'll need to blurry it a little bit. People are going to see the sign in the back. I mean, I don't know if that went down, but just like Ray Santilli, who hoaxed the famous Roswell alien autopsy. Remember that was on Fox? We all watched it. He was paid $250,000 for that, and then like 7 or 10 years later came out and said they were all fake, and he told his story why he did it. For the money. It's all about money. Y'all follow.
The moment I saw, the moment I heard about these Roswell Slides and what Jaime was doing, that's what came to my mind was the Ray Santilli thing. Was oh God, here we go again. Because that kind of sent ufology back too.
That, because ufology really wasn't as big as it is today because the internet was still new. That just barely came out at the time. And all these, cable channel satellite isn't what it is today with all these TV shows that are out now. We didn't have that back then. We had a special like once a year on aliens, Here it is, In Search Of is going to talk about the existence of UFOs. And then we'd wait 3 weeks for that show to come on with Leonard Nimoy. Well, that's really the 70s, but I'm just saying. Hey, we got another caller. We've got about a minute and a half. What we'll do is we'll come back. We're not going to talk about the slides anymore. I don't think we need to because 9/11 just passed by. It's 14 years later. And people still believe that terrorists were the sole involvement in that, and I say there's no way terrorists could have planned that perfect without any help, especially the way the buildings fell in New York. But anyway, we'll take this caller when we come back from our 3-minute break. We're going to take it a minute early, and when we come back, talk about 9/11 and why I think it was an inside job. And maybe, Eric, you can voice your opinion on that. I don't know, but we'll be back right after this message on the AZ UFO Show on Sunday nights. We'll see you soon. 3 minutes.
The sky is the limit on Spaced Out Radio. Hi there, this is Dave Scott, host of Spaced Out Radio. Join me live every Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern for news, reviews, and updates on what's happening in the realms of UFOs, paranormal, supernatural, conspiracy, and more. Find it all at spacedoutradio.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Spaced Out Radio. Listen in soon.
Hi there, this is Jim Tyson, host of Spaced Out Weekend. When you've had a busy week and you're just wanting to chill out and relax, how about listening into my show? That's right, Spaced Out Weekend. I focus on the paranormal, the arcane. I even dip into the techie side of things and much, much more. And I would love for you to come in and check it out. Remember, Spaced Out Radio goes 7 days a week. Dave Scott, Monday through Friday, and me, Jim Tyson, rolling through the weekends. I look forward to having you stop by for a listen every Saturday and Sunday night, 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Want to find out what's coming up on the Spaced Out Radio Network? Go to spacedoutradio.com where you can find our daily list of shows and guests appearing throughout the week. Want to tell us your story? Be sure to sign up for the Spaced Out Forum for free. Maybe you have a psychic question. Drop in and say hi to Catherine in Cat's Corner. spacedoutradio.com, your 24-hour source for UFOs, ghosts, conspiracies, and more. Check it out today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
This is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm going to bring you the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio, Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Every week, I'm going to bring you the freshest information on the globe. I'm bringing you guys the truth, extraterrestrials in the sky, prophecy, chemtrails, rainbow spot, the seventh angel, biblical skies, ancient gods, ghosts, spirits, see it, hear it. So let's do this every Monday night. I'll see you back here at 8 p.m. Pacific Time.
The AZ UFO Show on the Spaced Out Radio Network flies every Sunday night. To reach host Rich Giordano, you can email him at theazufoshow@gmail.com or on Twitter at CNUFOS. Now, back to the show with Rich Giordano.
And we're back on the AZ UFO Show right here on spacedoutradio.com and blogtalkradio.com. Yeah, we're going to talk about 9/11 now, but before we do, I did want to button up the Roswell Slides by saying that there were some people who verified that that was a child's body. Also associated with the Roswell Slides research group was Chris Rakowski. Yeah, he said that it was a mummified child and not an extraterrestrial, and he would know. And there were other people who were autopsy doctors or whatever you want to call them. They also said it was a child. So 2 or 4 years old, whatever you think, wrapped around that child, and next to it, was that little plate that said 2-year-old child wrapped, mummified body. And I did want to take this caller. Maybe you had something you want to shed on the Roswell Slides, area code 585. You're on the show.
Hey, Rich. This is Chad out of New York.
Hey, Chad. How you doing?
It's Chadwick.
Yes, I know Chadwick. You want to add something to the Roswell Slides?
Well, I wanted to talk to you. It's interesting because it seems, I don't know if what your worldview is on these extraterrestrials. Well, I had a comment and then a question, but I don't know how long you're going to give me to talk to you.
I'm only going to give you one question about the Roswell Slides. That's it, because that's what we were just talking about. Yeah, I can't have you hijack the show, so I'm not in the mood to talk about Jesus or anything like that, or my views on anything like that tonight.
Rich, do you think there's any connection to spirituality to this at all, or are you pretty skeptical of the whole thing?
Spirituality? Come on, man. You know me. I don't believe in God. There is no God. Everybody needs God in their life so they don't feel so alone in this world, that somebody's going to help heal their wounds and help their lives and find them money. Yet there's millions of people who are struggling that pray to God every day that don't get an answer. I tried finding the devil by doing a Ouija board, trying to conjure up the devil. That didn't work. So there is no God. There is no devil. It's whatever you believe. That's what I believe. I don't believe in that stuff. And I don't believe it's spiritual. It has nothing to do with it. But I'm not going to get hijacked into it, Chad. I just can't. Not tonight. Not tonight.
All right. Well, can I ask you this question? I'll just ask you this question then. Do you think there's any ET connection to the Vatican?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think it's legit, or do you think it's bogus?
No, I think it's legit. I think ET has made contact with them many, many, many years ago. Possibly thousands of years ago, because I think Jesus probably was an alien, just like when they said the gods came out of the sky and they came down in their chariot of fire and all this other stuff with Ezekiel and the wheel, and that's all sounds like UFOs coming down to me. Anyway, that's what I feel. I think, yes, they've been involved with the Vatican. They've been involved with all heads of the world. And the Pope is one of the people that would probably be the chosen one to come out and tell the world that aliens have visited us. And that may be why he's coming here on September 23rd to the United States. It may be, because there is some sort of doom that is supposedly impending on this planet, the 23rd and the 24th of September. That is for next week's show, though, so we'll talk about that next week. But Chadwick, anytime you want to call in, it's a pleasure. I appreciate you, and thank you very much. And Alien, God bless. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate it. All right, Eric. So he's a super guy. I like
that comes on. He's always
yeah, but he's always good. But he always somehow gets the show and hijacks it into this spiritual God thing, and then he tries to tell me I need to believe in God and have God in my life. And at the end of the show, end of the call, he'll say, "Why don't you contact me?" And and then I never do. And then he calls back on another show, and he's welcome to call back, but not tonight. I'm just not in the fucking mood. I'm sorry. Did I just say that? Oh my God! Excuse me, Spaced Out Radio. We'll edit that out. Not. Sorry, I did that. Not. It just came out. Not. I meant it. Yes, I did. Eric, it just shows you how much I don't believe in that stuff. I just don't. And that's why I believe 9/11 happened, because the devil took his hate out on all of us. Devil did it, and God let it happen. Give me a break. You know who let it happen? Our government let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've watched everything that's been involved with 9/11, and there's a lot of hinky things. I mean,
Yeah, I called into a show one time, and they were talking about how is it possible that those buildings, the Twin Towers, could have been brought down. People would have seen them, the people putting the bombs in place. They would have noticed, with all these thousands of people working in the trade towers, they would have seen people with suitcases coming in. No. My comment was, what if they built it with the bombs already inside? What if they did it in 1976 and they were already there? And they came in surreptitiously through the night and put them in while the building was being built. And they sat there and there was quiet on the radio show, and the guy says, that's an interesting view. I've never thought of that. That's a possibility. Possibly. I think that they did get in. There were several weeks, 6 weeks before the towers came down, that they were doing fire drills or something like that, where they were evacuating the towers. And I think that they were coming in during those times and they were planting the explosives. Maybe on the floors that had no people on it, maybe where there was no, offices or businesses in those floors. But whatever it was, I either believe that we did it that way, went in that night, when nobody was there, or the bombs were built, or we tested out a new weapon that brought the buildings down. And I say that because there's a video, a couple of them, you can see it. On one of the towers, they have that long radio tower that stands up on it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there's this huge radio tower. I think it's like 100 feet tall. In several of the videos where you have a close-up view of the building imploding on itself, that tower disintegrates. It somehow just melts away. You can see it disintegrating as it's falling. And is there a particle weapon, a beam weapon that was used to just, and I'll tell you why I think this may be true. Is there a weapon that is shot from space that possibly melted the core of the building and all the metal, and it's just designed to melt the metal and make everything fall in on it? I don't know. I'm just saying, because there's no way they could have fallen at a free fall speed in 10 seconds. It fell straight down on their own footprint. There's no way that could happen, especially where the planes hit. And fuel doesn't burn at that high temperature where it could melt steel. It burns at 1,700 degrees where steel melts at 2,500 or something like that. I know I'm close. So there's no way that would have happened. And jet fuel burns very quickly. So it wasn't like this jet fuel had enough power or enough time to melt the columns all the way to the floor. So if the plane hit 3/4 of the way up and all the jet fuel spilled down into the middle of the building, then why would all the columns, 42 of them I think it is, be melted at the same time? Wouldn't the building just fall halfway down and then maybe fall to the side, and there would only be half a building standing where it didn't get hot? You know what I mean, Eric? Wouldn't it just break off in pieces instead of, the furniture, everything was disintegrated. There were no phones, there were no chairs, no desks, no computers found. How could that happen? It's impossible. So here's why I think. Oh, you want to say something?
All I'm going to say is, it is weird that the building came down so straight because of the fact that it did have the added weight of an actual airplane stuck in the side of it. You would honestly that it would tilt and come down sideways. It wouldn't come down as perfectly straight as that with that extra weight. That's kind of the weirdest thing. That's one thing that I noticed that it was like, whoa. It's the same thing with the second tower. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense that it would come down so straight with that way.
Of course. It's impossible. Not only, and many of you know this, but I have to say it, but there has never been in history a steel structure burned and to collapse the way it did. Well, the plane hit it, Rich. You're forgetting a plane at 550 miles an hour hit it. No, I'm not forgetting that. the fires weren't as bad as people think. They were bad, but they weren't bad enough to where it was trickling down to the other floors. Some of them were going out. Okay, so not only did it happen once, not only did it happen twice, but it happened 3 times to Building 7, and 7 wasn't even hit by a plane, and it fell down. And there were and that wasn't built the same way with the girders all in a perfect, square so they could fall upon themselves. How could that building just fall down exactly on its own footprint, and it didn't get hit? Okay, now, not a lot of people know this. I talked about this last year. Eric, what do you know about Building 6?
Not that much. I mean, I all I know is about the first 2 towers. That's pretty much where my knowledge goes. I wasn't a huge Twin Tower fanatic, so.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty, and that's exactly what a lot of people would say. Not a lot of people are fanatics about this, nor am I, but I did enough research that I found this to be very interesting. The Building 6 was one of the buildings next to the Twin Towers, just adjacent, almost next door. A few pieces of the plane and a few pieces of the towers that fell did hit the building, but it wasn't on fire. What's curious about Building 6 is that they found out the whole inside core of the building was gone, missing.
Wow.
Vanished, Eric. Yes. Not a lot of people talk about it. Not like disappeared, but disintegrated. Almost as if the particle beam hit the wrong building, or they tested it first, or they just wanted to crush that building down as well. But the same thing happened to Building 6. But the funny thing is, it was never on fire. And Building 6, the whole inside, the whole core was almost gone. How does that happen? Tell me.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Building 6. Building 6. Now, we've heard many other people talk about this. Jesse Ventura always says, and he's a big component on this, it was an inside job. Follow the money. Okay? We all know, and you may have heard, several months before, there was a $4 billion insurance policy taken out on the towers by the owner of the towers. And then here, COG in the chat room is saying pre-9/11 inside trading leads to the highest ranks of the CIA. There was a lot of money, a lot of things that were happening that really lead up to 9/11. Building 7 is where our defense, we couldn't find $2 trillion, Eric, in Building 7, and that's where the investigation was taking place. We couldn't find $2 trillion of our defense money, and it was all supposedly being washed through Building 7. I think that's where the FBI headquarters is. Something is, not Langley, I don't know, something over there. And I'm terrible as a host for not knowing. But Building 7 was probably brought down to hide where that $2 trillion went. See how this happens? It's all about money. Very strange that I find very, very curious as to why a $4 billion insurance policy was taken out on the World Trade Centers just months prior by the owner. He had to have known. Those buildings, and I tell you, I was born in New York, and when I went to visit the World Trade Center when I was a kid, before we moved here, I was like 7, and then we went again when I was 10. And I remember saying to myself as I'm taking pictures, I said, and I know this is going to sound like, oh yeah, Rich, right, you're making it up. I actually said this building is built wrong. It's too square. I said this building would just topple over, is what I said when I was a kid. Weird thing to think, I know, but it was those 2 buildings that were really perfect squares. And what better way to bring down a building on its own footprint as being a perfect square? And the way it was built. The way it was built. I'm telling you, they planned this shit from the 70s. It was planned probably just like the attack on Pearl Harbor was, and the assassination of, Kennedy. all this stuff, it all leads to a money trail. It all leads to war. And what happens when we go to war? We supposedly make money, don't we? We get to test out our weapons. We get to sell our weapons that we don't want anymore to our enemies, quote unquote. There's just too many questions that arise from 9/11. And you're going to tell me that inexperienced pilots, terrorist pilots that trained on Cessnas were able to fly a jet as perfectly as they did with the 500-mile-an-hour U-turn that it made just to come back to New York? I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. I think it's definitely an inside job. And if you think otherwise, I think you just haven't done the research. I think you just don't want to believe that your government can perpetrate such a horrible thing. Well, believe it or not, it's what is it? What did they say? Did Spock say, or somebody say? The few of the many outweigh the something of the. What is that? How does that go? You know how that goes.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one.
Thank you. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. And I believe that. And there's so many things. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen September 23rd and the 24th, but this Jade Helm, this training exercise that was done on American soil has never been done before. There are trains that have been delivering hundreds of trucks and weapons. Where are they going to?
Oh, no, I coughed.
Oh, okay. And this collapse that just happened, and I can't think. I have too many thoughts going through my mind. The crash that happened a week or so ago in tradings and stock, the biggest crash we've ever had. If I'm wrong on that, forgive me, but I think it was the biggest crash we had in one day in history. And supposedly there is something else that's going to happen, and it's been predicted, just like 9/11 was predicted. And if that's going to happen, supposedly this thing that's going to happen on the 23rd and 24th is pretty serious. It's global. It's not just going to be in New York or in Washington. It's going to be all over the world. Now, the Pope is coming here on September 23rd, which is also very, very interesting. Yeah. So the Pope is going to meet with the president, and supposedly there's something that's supposed to happen. I don't know. Every year, Eric, I say it. I always talk about how somewhere, somebody on the internet's always saying there's pending
doom.
Going to tell me it was wrong? No, it wasn't wrong. It's just a 26,000-year cyclical thing, an alignment of the planets. That's all that is. It's a beginning of a new. No. It was off by 3 years, they found out. Give me a break. It's off by 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. I mean, come on. So I don't know what to believe. Did you hear about this thing that's supposed to happen on September 23rd?
No, I haven't heard much. I mean, I heard something's supposed to happen, and I've heard about the military thing in Texas and stuff. That's pretty much what I've heard.
And supposedly at the bottom of the World Trade Center, actually, I don't know if it's true, but I heard this through several sources that I've read on the internet. Of course, it is the internet, but this was right after it happened, that there were several dump trucks filled with gold, gold bars that were seen leaving the World Trade Center before it collapsed, before it got hit by the planes. So was there a big heist? Was our Fort Knox, quote unquote, hijacked? Or did we take our money out of there? I mean, what the hell happened on 9/11? Now, 14 years later, we still don't know the truth. Although the truth is staring us right in the face, but nobody's going to admit it. And with all the studies and all the people who have done research on the steel and on the collapsing and all this other stuff, especially with Building 7 collapsing on its own footprint without even having major fire, something is askew. Something really bad happened, and I can't believe that anybody in their right mind would believe those buildings can fall on their own footprint without having any type of help. Yeah, the planes hit them. Well, what about Building 6? What about 7? No planes hit them.
Yeah, and the thing is, Rich, I mean, I also heard something about the fact that there was actually a certain amount of radiation in the World Trade Center area too, and that some of the firemen that actually helped out in that have actually gotten cancer and stuff since.
Yeah, there was something about that, and that may be from the particle weapon that I think was used, in my opinion. Of course, I'm probably wrong, but if I'm not wrong, then, well, we do have particle weapons. We actually do have those weapons. We do, but to what amount, what capacity, I don't know, of course. None of us do. But if that's true, and that could have been the fallout from the weapon that was used, very possible. Because like I said, Building 6 was hollowed out, pretty much hollowed out. It just, like everything else, when that building fell in New York, when those 2 or even 3 buildings fell, how could they not find any computer parts, phones? I mean, they were little tiny fragments, but, you just like an airplane, they didn't even find the engines. 4 huge engines weren't even found, Eric. And they always find the engines when they find plane crashes. How could you not find 4, what were they, 20-ton engines? How can you not find one engine out of 4?
Yeah, and how about bodies? I mean, they didn't find all the bodies that were in the World Trade Center either. I mean, shoot, you would think they'd be able when they were actually building the memorial to actually find a bunch of the bodies.
They were vaporized.
Yeah.
And how about in Shanksville, the hole where the plane supposedly, was taken down? Was that, I don't know if that's Flight 93 or, where the passenger said, let's go, and they took over the plane and it crashed. They didn't even find any bodies there. They had the mortician guy there who, collects I don't know if that's what you call him, the coroner. That's it. He was there. He says, and this is his quote, "I don't even know why I'm here. There's no bodies."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of odd.
Yes.
Because, I mean, what are we dealing with here? I mean, what? It's almost like that book that came out, Millennium, where, with that plane where the ones from the future were stealing the people, and there was no bodies left in the plane or that. Fucking
right.
Weird ass.
I know, just like the Malaysian flight, ML-70, I believe it is, that still hasn't been found.
Oh, yeah.
Went off the radar, just gone. It just disappeared. There has to be more than just terrorists involved with this 9/11. There's just no way that they could have performed it almost to perfection. You don't have, and let's talk about the Pentagon. So many people focus on the World Trade Center. But what about the Pentagon? A plane hit the Pentagon, the same type of plane, whatever it was. I'm such a stickler for detail, aren't I? That plane hit the side of the building, the Pentagon, and yet when you match up the plane that supposedly hit the Pentagon, it doesn't match to the hole, the 60-foot hole that was there. I mean, it was 150 feet across. The engines alone would have taken out that whole side, and where the plane would have hit, the building was still standing. The building didn't even collapse, really. It was just a hole. And they've proven that it was a missile that was shot into the Pentagon and made that hole. And that was proven. And then with an exit hole of, I think, was 15 feet. So where's the plane on that? Okay, well, when we come back, we got to take a break. This is what we do. We take a break. Hey, and I'd like to welcome Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio. I just noticed you here in the chat room, and everybody else who happen to join us today here on the AZ UFO Show at spacedoutradio.com, take a visit. Go over there to the website and see what we got cooking. And the site's getting bigger every day. New hosts, new radio shows. Fantastic. And when we come back, we're going to continue talking about 9/11 and the Pentagon. So stand by, and we'll be back in 3 minutes and 10 seconds, Eric. All right?
All right.
The sky is the limit on Spaced Out Radio. Hi there, this is Dave Scott, host of Spaced Out Radio. Join me live every Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern for news, reviews, and updates on what's happening in the realms of UFOs, paranormal, supernatural, conspiracy, and more. Find it all at spacedoutradio.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Spaced Out Radio. Listen in soon.
Hi there, this is Jim Tyson, host of Spaced Out Weekend. When you've had a busy week and you're just wanting to chill out and relax, how about listening into my show? That's right, Spaced Out Weekend. I focus on the paranormal, the arcane. I even dip into the techie side of things and much, much more. And I would love for you to come in and check it out. Remember, Spaced Out Radio goes 7 days a week. Dave Scott, Monday through Friday, and me, Jim Tyson, rolling through the weekends. I look forward to having you stop by for a listen every Saturday and Sunday night, 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Want to find out what's coming up on the Spaced Out Radio Network? Go to spacedoutradio.com, where you can find our daily list of shows and guests appearing throughout the week. Want to tell us your story? Be sure to sign up for the Spaced Out Forum for free. Maybe you have a psychic question. Drop in and say hi to Catherine in Cat's Corner. spacedoutradio.com, your 24-hour source for UFOs, ghosts, conspiracies, and more. Check it out today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
This is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm going to bring you the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio, Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Every week, I'm going to bring you the freshest information on the globe. I'm bringing you guys the truth, extraterrestrials in the sky, prophecy, chemtrails, rainbow spot, the seventh angel, biblical skies, ancient gods, ghosts, spirits, see it, hear it. So let's do this every Monday night. I'll see you back here at 8 p.m. Pacific Time.
The AZ UFO Show on the Spaced Out Radio Network flies every Sunday night. To reach host Rich Giordano, you can email him at theazufoshow@gmail.com or on Twitter at CNUFOS. Now, back to the show with Rich Giordano.
Welcome back to the AZ UFO Show. Yeah, we're coming up on our last 25 minutes here. Wow, Eric, this has been the fastest show I've done in 3 weeks.
Hey, this has been a great show. I've been sitting here just enjoying myself. It's been absolutely a joy.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you, and I appreciate you coming on. And we had a few callers and possibly a few pranks, and but nonetheless, it is the traditional AZ UFO show. It really has been, and it's good. It's good to be back officially. I know a lot of people have been coming by every Sunday expecting to see the show, and unfortunately, life happens. I was sick one week. I had a tooth problem the other, and then one was, I can't remember. Oh, yeah, no power. The power went out 2 minutes before the show started. There's so many things. One night, I couldn't even call into the show. So it's not really me that's doing it on purpose. It's a lot of other things. And I said this earlier, I think I said it to you, Eric, that the alien god, Zich, as I call him, has been trying to keep me away. And I think he's just been teaching me a lesson. And what that lesson is I need to get back to what made the show what it was. Very controversial, calling people out, not just calling people out to call people out, but to expose them for what they really are. And that's what we are doing now. Talking about 9/11, the government, hasn't been truthful. I don't believe so. I mean, the evidence, it's on TV, it's all over the internet. All I know is that the Pentagon, an airplane supposedly hit it, and where the engines were supposed to be, there were walls. If a plane hit the building at 500 miles an hour and had those several-ton engines where they were supposed to be, those walls would have been down, and they would have went through all three sections of that Pentagon. You know how the Pentagon is, Pentagon inside a Pentagon inside a Pentagon?
Mm-hmm.
What do they call that when it's circle inside a circle? What do they call that? What is that?
Octagon, something like that?
No, it's a pentagon, but you know when you have one thing inside another? Concentric? No. Is that what it is? Yeah, I think it is concentric circles. Well, it's a concentric building. I hope I'm using that term correctly. I always like to think I'm smart, but I'm not. I'm just like you guys. I'm just average intelligence, trying to do an average show, but it doesn't make sense. Everything about 9/11 is wrong. Everything you read. If you believe that those buildings in New York and the Pentagon were demolished the way that you say that the government says they were, then you just don't get it. You can't get it. And I don't understand, Eric, how people don't get it. Like they show you, if that airplane hit the Pentagon, those walls, those engines, everything would have come down and found. We didn't find the engines to what hit the Pentagon. We didn't see the walls come down where the plane should have hit it. Instead, we have a small hole and an exit hole of 15 feet. And that shows me that a missile was fired, and you can see it. There is video, if you guys have ever seen the parking lot camera where the gate would be, where you put your card in to enter the parking lot to the Pentagon. It's like 3 frames they show you. They don't show you all the frames. Of course, they give you the worst camera. That's another thing. There were cameras all over the Pentagon. Where's all the footage? Why don't they show us the footage? There was cameras across the street at the gas station, at the hotel up the road. Everything, all the cameras, there was something like 40 or 50 cameras that would have shown the airplane coming in to hit the Pentagon. Where are those? Where's the film footage? And they give us 3 frames that just shows a blob entering the screen and then an explosion. It just, to me, doesn't make any sense. How can you have all those cameras? Why aren't we seeing the film? If the government has nothing to hide, show us the film. And they don't give an excuse. I think the excuse was, well, it's too much for the surviving people, of the people who died on the planes, to see that evidence. They can give any BS answer they want because they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They only care about what feeds their pocket. That's it, Eric. It's always about money. Our government is really shady. It's real shady. Has been, always will be. Well, Rich, wouldn't you rather live here than in Russia? Yeah. Well, wouldn't you rather live here than in China? Yeah. Wouldn't you rather live here than Europe? No, I'd rather live in Europe. I actually do want to live in Europe for some reason, just for a while. But I don't like the things that happen. Obamacare, they force you to get health care. They force you to get health care now. How can they do that? Eric, I still don't have health care. I can get a big fine for it. And I need to have health care. I need to have it. And I don't. And I can't afford it.
I was lucky enough to get it because of what happened with me. If I didn't have Obamacare, I would have been in a real shitty situation. Seriously.
Eric, I would get it. Okay, I'd get insurance I have 2 jobs, because one job you have to be there for 2 years before you get full-time position. I'm only there a year and a half, and the other job I got to fill in the void of not having a full-time job. So I have 2 jobs, and if I got health insurance now, I can't afford it. I can't afford my rent, my car. I can't afford the extra $250 a month they want. Not only that, it's $250 a month, plus I'd have to get medication, which I'd have to get maybe once or twice a month, which is another $100 a month. So it's not only paying for that, it's the medication that what used to be a $5 copay is now $50. So it's going to cost me $350 a month just to get insurance. I don't have the money. So I suffer every day through what I have, and until I go full time, which is in March, then I'll get insurance. But until then, I'm suffering, just like many people out there. They don't care. They don't care about us. They don't care about our vets who go across and fight for this country and the world. We fight for the world when we go to war. We're not just fighting for America. We're fighting for the world, because that's what we do. We police the world. It's what America does. It's what we're good at. But I don't think we're good at it. I think we suck at it. We're only good at it if you're making money, and that's the only time. And you know what? We haven't had a significant war in many years. You know why Obama pulled out? I know we did, but not a big war like we're about to have. Do you know why Obama pulled all of our troops out? I'll tell you why. Because the morale was low. They've been fighting over there for several years and taking long terms, you know, staying there a year at a time, some guys 2 years at a time, without coming home. Our guys were tired. So what they did, they back all of our troops out. They rebuild our army, get it strong, get everybody believing in a false flag, which is going to happen probably on September 23rd. So now that we've rested our army for the last year and a half or so, they're going to be fresh and fight for something anew. And the next thing, not only now, we're not going to be fighting against terrorists. We're going to be fighting for the world for something, I think, if it's supposed to happen, is going to be a global catastrophe, whether it be an asteroid. There have been near misses lately that we've seen in Russia, and something fell out of the sky in Missouri or somewhere just the other day. Some ice ball fell out of the sky. Did you hear about this? Crashing through someone's home?
Oh, yeah, I heard about that one.
So I don't know. With all these near misses, is that just the beginning of what is really coming? And our government won't tell us until it's too late. They don't want mass panic. They're not going to tell us anything. Can you imagine if they told us now that a meteor was coming? No, I wouldn't go to work. Why would I? Why would I go to work tomorrow? Of course not. But it would be nice if we knew so we can prepare. But what they want to do is what the Georgia Guidestones tell us. And if anybody knows the Georgia Guidestones, what does it say? That we have to depopulate the planet until there's only, 5 million people here left on Earth? Something like that? 500 million? 500,000? Georgia Guidestones. Somebody look it up. I mean, we've got 7 billion people on the planet. Our infrastructure is terrible. Our 90% of our bridges are near collapse or have a D- rating. Our roads are falling apart. I mean, our water systems, our bridges are only made to live 50 to survive 50 years. Our dams that hold all the water, there's thousands of dams all over the world. Some of them don't even have anybody monitoring them. Some states don't have anybody monitoring their dams. They could collapse and kill thousands of people at any time. Our report card for our infrastructure is a D-. Our buildings are crumbling. Our roadways are failing. Our dams are going to break apart. There's something that has to happen. I think 9/11 was a precursor to what may be what's going to happen here in the next 10 days or so. I don't know. But there's been a lot of trains, and I don't know if you've seen the videos on YouTube, trains carrying hundreds and hundreds of military vehicles and weapons to God knows who where. There's been word that the people who hold most of the money in the world are going to caves. They're pulling their money out of the stocks and everything else. A lot of things are happening, slowly, piece by piece. And what are all these caves that are underground that they deny? We have videos of these underground caves that go thousands of miles. They have shopping centers. They have malls, Eric, malls underground. The Denver airport is an entryway to one of these underground places. If you've ever been to the Denver airport, they have these paintings all along the whole place that show the end of days. It's the end of the world with the what's that?
Oh, I've been to the Denver airport. I've seen it.
It's a trip. It tells a story of the end of days, and it looks like an apocalyptical event is going to happen. I don't know. I don't think. And what about Russia bringing over their subs, or what was it, a ship or something? I don't know. Parking it right outside of the United States as a threat? I don't know. There's been so many things that don't make sense. 9/11 could not have happened without the help of your government. You can say what you want. You can believe it. I don't have firsthand proof, but when I look at the videos and I see things that don't make sense, that physically can't make sense, and visually don't make sense, then there's something wrong. If it doesn't make sense, it's a lie. Just like when somebody tells you a story, Eric, if it doesn't make sense, they're lying. It's got to have a ring of truth to it. Buildings cannot just fall on their own footprint. Not 3 buildings. It's not impossible, I don't know, but the way the planes hit, the fires that were burning, they should have broken in half, if anything. They shouldn't have even fallen. They were designed to take that impact anyway. And they were. They stood for almost an hour. I mean, what are the odds of them falling so close to each other anyway? Within, what was it, 30 minutes, half an hour, something like 45 minutes?
I think it was about 45.
Yeah, and then Building 7 falls 8 hours later. It just falls. People are doing a newscast, and all of a sudden the building's falling. And how about the British news reporting that the building fell before it fell? And then there were the firemen that were told it was going to fall. They heard that the building was going to be pulled. They were going to pull it, and pull it is a term they use when they demolish a building. That means we're going to pull it, and that means they're going to hit the detonation button. We're pulling it down. Wow. I believe Kitty was right. Got to follow the money, Eric. So why would they? I always say to myself, why would they make 9/11 happen? Why, Rich? Why would the government do it? Well, what happened? We went to war. War is money. It gave us a false flag. It gave us a way we could get back into war. And I think it had to do with the oil. I think it has to do with oil and taking over. And for some reason, we feel this need that we have to do it. I also don't like that we have to feel the need that we have to police everybody. Why can't we just stay out of people's business, Eric?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, shit, and it's just like my family keeps saying. I mean, we need to clean up our own house before we clean up the world's house. The problem is that here in America, I mean, we have enough problems that we're not taking care of here. We don't need to be taking care of everybody else's problems.
With all the money we spent on the wars in the last 10 years, we could have housed all the homeless people and given them houses. I mean, build houses and give them a job and give them money. We could have taken care of all the homeless people here.
Oh, yeah.
That's
great. And fixed education and everything,
Yeah, the U.S. is now ranked pretty far down there as far as intelligence goes. We used to be the number 1. And now I don't know how far down we are, 25th, 40th, I don't know. It's not even close. Yeah, we're a dummied down society. We're dummied down. Everything that you see on the TV, you're going to believe. And it's all lies. Have you ever watched the television what is it, Islam television or something like that? Have you ever watched that?
No.
Afghani television. I mean, it's on everyone's cable. There's a no, what is it? It starts with an A, not Afghani. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, I watch that once in a while, and the things they say, and oh my God, there's so many bombings going on all the time over in these countries, in Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, Syria. I mean, there's so much stuff going on over there. It's like all the time. It's like every day there's a bombing. It's crazy. So, I mean, I'm glad I live here in the United States. I don't know any other place. But I hate what our government does. And I hate what they did on 9/11. Maybe it had to happen, Eric. I mean, I never really think about it that way, but maybe we had to do this.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the thing is, open people's eyes. It changed America's view on things. Before 9/11, we had this idea that we were so safe and stuff, and now we don't have that feeling anymore.
It's ridiculous how not safe our borders are. I mean, they can ship anything they want into our borders, into our harbors. I mean, New York could be taken out 2 seconds. They always talk about New York, I guess because it's the financial capital of the world or something, If they took out L.A., they'd probably start an earthquake if they started bombing over there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Oh, my God. Yeah, your phone just cracked up really bad. Oh, wow, we've only got a few minutes left. Not much more I can say. Not much more. I mean, we've talked about 9/11 just about every year, so I was just trying to just keep the theme going. Every year we do a show about it, talk about it, just to keep people in touch. Because I know when I found out about Building 6, I found out about it about 2 years ago, and Building 6 was just hollowed out. I'm like, what? And then you can see the pictures online if you want to just type in Building 6 on YouTube. Man, that's crazy stuff. What's real interesting, because 9/11 just passed, they were showing all these TV shows and all these specials. There was this other video that was posted on Facebook about how there were 3 explosions that happened before the building collapsed and how the lobby was literally blown apart. And there are videos of the lobby being blown out. It's just strange. There was a guy who was, he worked in the janitorial. So he did a lot, and all of his stuff was underground. They had like 6 stories of underground parking. So there was a bomb that went off underneath the World Trade Center before the plane hit. And it wiped out like 5 stories of the parking structure. And then I don't know if you know this either. A lot of people don't know, but for several months after the attack, there was flowing molten lava underneath the ground, when they started pulling the rubble away. Molten lava was just sitting there.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. People don't know all this stuff. Was that partly due from was that the particle beam that I talked about earlier? That demolished the building and melted everything? Because if you look at some videos, and if you're able to see that tower, the radio tower on, I think it's Building 1, the north building, I think, you can see the tower disintegrating from top to bottom, as if it was being hit with something. And you can watch it disintegrate. It's crazy. It just, it looks like a movie. It looks like we're watching a movie of something, how they would make that special effect of something just dematerializing and turning into dust. And you can see it happening as it's falling.
Yeah, it looks like Independence Day when the alien ship goes and takes out that one tower and hits it with that particle beam. It's like boom.
Isn't that an interesting analogy? Funny that you would say that. Yeah, that's how it happened, but in a less explosion type of way. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, who knows? Maybe it was aliens. Wouldn't that be great? Oh, my God. Some people think the Pope is coming here, and he's coming here to tell us about alien visitation on September 23rd. That's why he's coming to the U.S. Well, if anybody was to tell us, I think the Pope would be a perfect candidate. Because he's, you know, he doesn't support just one nation. He's the speaker for, you know, a lot of us. Is it 80? I don't know what's the percentage of Christians out there, but if the Pope said aliens are here, well, I would tend to believe him more than I would Obama. Anyway, we're about done out of time. Eric, I want to thank you for coming on the show. You've been an excellent host. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Cool deal there, Rich.
And where can people find you?
You can find me, well, I'm here on Blog Talk Radio. I mean, I have my show, The Wolfpack Presents. We're not actually doing regular shows, you know, as we used to, but we're still around. So just check around The Wolfpack Presents, and you know, you can find me on Facebook at WilliamPattison.EricMorris, and you know, just all over the place.
Well, thank you very much. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and want to thank all of you. Perrier Daryl is here. Watchdog. I know Spaced Out Radio is here. Jim, thank you, or James, or Jim, and several other people. And also want to thank the Angel Espina for calling in and giving us a nice prank call, and Chadwick from New York, who can call in next week if you want to. Next week, what did I say I was going to talk about? Oh, yeah. Jade Helm and the end of days that might be happening. What is today? What's today's date?
I believe it's the 13th.
Okay, so in 10 days from now, I'll be able to get the show in a week from now. So we'll see you next week. We'll talk about the end of the world that's supposed to happen on the 23rd and the 24th. Other than that, have a great night, everybody. Thank you for listening to the AZ UFO Show on SpacedOutRadio.com and BlogTalkRadio.com. And you can see me on Facebook under Richard Giordano and Twitter under CNUFOS. See you guys later. Adios. Bye-bye. Bye, Jaime.